What is going on, everybody? Zyonik here, and in today's video we're going to be talking to the rank 1 player in Pokemon Go PvP. We haven't seen anyone with a higher rating than him, so he is at the top of the leaderboards that are currently non-existent, but hopefully they come into the game so it can be official. MJShafik. MJShafik, how you doing, man?
I'm pretty good, thank you. I managed to hit over 3,800 rating.
That's ridiculous.
The other day on Go Battle League.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that was by playing a lot of Master League since it's been around.
Yeah, and that's great to hear, because Master League has been really troubling for a lot of players, but it doesn't go at any surprise with the team that you are running to help you climb to 3,800 rating at all. So we'll talk more about the team, but how have you been finding the battles near the top? How have the queue times been? How have your opponents been? What's it like up there at the top?
So, as I got to like around maybe 3,700, I found the queue times being really long, like maybe a good 3-4 minutes to find a battle. A few days ago, I was getting a bit impatient, so I just stopped because they were taking too long. So that can be a little annoying, but you know, I guess that's going to happen if there's not as many people playing it, especially on Master League, which is probably the least popular as well.
Yeah.
Then I've faced a lot of the same people multiple times. So I'd go like a set and I'd face someone maybe 2 times, 3 times, or like I did a couple of sets back to back, and I played the same guy like 4 or so times within those 2 sets in the 10 battles. So
yeah,
you know, familiar faces, and you start to remember some of their teams and lineups, and that kind of impacts how you play a little bit sometimes. And even like a couple of people I faced, and they would change their team because they knew we were probably going to meet again, and that happened, and
yeah,
that was quite interesting. So it's a bit cookie cutter as well in terms of the meta, but lots of high skilled players, high level players, and it can obviously, that's kind of a challenge in itself, and blind battles is also challenging, but it's been good fun. It's been good fun.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, it goes at no surprise in Master League that running the team that you're running is what got you there. They are arguably the best Pokemon in Master League, and so by combining that team with the skill that you have, that's how you're able to obtain such a high rank. Now, does that mean you can't win battles with other teams? Absolutely not. You guys could bring so many different things to Master League to win, but consistently win at a high level, you're gonna need to want to run these type of Pokemon. So let's go ahead and talk about the team that you've been running. Talk about why you run it, how'd you come to find this team, and what were some problems that you're running into?
Sure. So I call it the GOAT team, the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
But the lineup actually can vary. The lead can vary, but which I'll talk about in a second as well. But the 3 I used was Giratina Origin, Dialga, which was my best buddy as well, and Melmetal. So those were the 3 I would use. And you could lead with Dialga or Melmetal, but after some testing with my friend Summer and some different things problems we were finding with sometimes leading certain Pokemon, we were kind of favoring leading with Giratina Origin more, and it actually worked out, I think, more consistently. And you know, having consistency in a game like Pokemon Go PvP is actually really important. And I think that's what helped a lot as well. And we're going to go over that, I guess, as well.
So because I've been running, I don't have Giratina Origin, I don't have Dialga. I'm working on building them up and getting them myself, but I did have Melmetal. I also had Dragonite, which I call Lagonite as of recently. He just wouldn't get off Dragon Breath. You guys, I'm sure you guys have been experiencing the same.
That's actually been a problem for me sometimes as well. I found like it's different with different players, right? Or different, I don't know, networks or things like that. But I found like if I would use my mobile data to do Go Battle League, my Dragon Breath wouldn't go through. So it was literally getting to the stage where I would have to wait till I was home every day to battle on my Wi-Fi. And then the Dragon Breaths were happening. But you know, even when I was playing a few games off Wi-Fi, just not even Go Battle League games, the same thing was happening. So I hope Niantic fix it before season 1 starts.
I'm sure they're working on fixing it, but it crippled me to want to do more Master League, because you know, maybe I catch a good lead, I lead Melmetal and I catch a Togekiss and they swap into Giratina Origin, so I swap into my Dragonite, which can handle that, right? You can shred it down, hopefully get a
Yeah,
shield.
exactly.
And then the Giratina Origin would take me out because I couldn't even get to a Dragon Claw because Dragon Breaths weren't going off. So it'd be at like 3/4 health and already did like 3 ominous wins on me by the time I'm trying to get to a Dragon Claw. And I'm like, this is just...
Exactly.
This is not fun.
And so with Dialga against the Togekiss matchup, that can be really, detrimental if you miss any Dragon Breaths or you lag at all.
Yeah.
Because, if you miss any, then you don't get to 2 Iron Heads, and obviously getting to 2 Iron Heads is really important because you can either get the win over the Togekiss or bait the shields.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Dragon Breath is definitely a problem, but hopefully they fix it.
Hopefully they will
before Season 1.
So would you suggest then for players coming in when they're looking to spend dust in Master League that they go for these Pokemon that you're using right here?
Yeah, I think, if I talk about maybe each one really quickly. So Giratina Origin is very good in Master League in general, but it's also a very good PvE raid Pokemon. I remember when it came out and me and my friends, we wanted to raid it a lot because we wanted to have as many as possible for a team for taking, down psychic types and things like that, because it's really good in against raids for that. So that is definitely a worthy investment. Dialga is very good in Master League, but after looking at some of the calculations, you do really need one with the 15 defense, right? It's got to be the 15 defense for the best buddy.
Yeah.
So, really, ideally, you want to have, of course, because of CMP as well, you want to have, I think, at least the 98 that's got 14 attack or 100, which I know is obviously really difficult to get.
Yeah.
But it actually does matter because if you don't have the 15 attack, you may not win CMP ties against the mirror match, which can be relevant. If you don't have the 15 defense, you don't get the defensive breakpoint at best buddy, and the 98 and the Hundo, they both, or the 98 with 14 HP, I should say, they both have the exact same attack, defense, HP as each other.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter which one you have, but having that versus a 93% actually does make a big difference.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So that's really important. That's the one I think has to have the most important IVs of the three. With the Giratina, even a 96 is okay. Again, if it's got 15 attack, that's important.
Yeah.
Just because, again, you want to win the CMP ties.
Yeah.
And I think that's helped with my Melmetal. Is a lot of the Melmetal matchups. You look at the CPs, and there may be a similar CP range, but I know mine has 15 attack.
Yeah.
So that really matters as well. So they're all really worthy investments, I think, for Master League. And I think unless Niantic does something to ban them, which I don't think they will, then they'll be, they're worth doing lucky trades for or raiding when they become more available again.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think seeing bans, especially in such a simple meta as Master League, I don't think we'd see it, because if the second you ban like Giratina Origin or Dialga, yes, the meta changes, but then all this dust, you would then have to spend a bunch of dust in a ton of different Pokemon that you may not already have.
Exactly, and the meta would still become very centralizing. I think it would just change to maybe like Togekiss and Metagross and Tyranitar or things like that, as opposed to these Pokemon. Yeah.
So what they have to do is basically introduce new Pokemon that can be good in the meta, like you were talking about earlier before we got in this call, that Landorus you thought is going to be really strong for Master League.
Yeah. I think Landorus has really good stats, has really good moves, unless they change it. Like access to Mud Shot is really good, so it seems like it's going to be a good Earth Power user, and it's got other good charge moves.
Yeah.
And then if they, release the other form, the Therian form, that's even better. So, you're taking an already good Pokemon and then making it even better. So if they do that and constantly introduce new moves, I think that will shake up some of these other leagues that are more cookie cutter, more streamlined in terms of what is the best Pokemon.
So, yeah, man, 38, and you said it was what, 3810 was your official rating?
Yeah.
That
3,810.
That is honestly incredible. Everyone else watching here, I'm nowhere near that. You're like 300 points ahead of me right now. That is so many battles. But yeah, and you're down in London, so you can like walk around a lot and do raid trains and stuff, so you can have access to these 100% legendary Pokemon and what have you.
Yeah. So the London community is pretty good. Where we what I'm gonna say is kind of gonna sound crazy, but when we there's a raid boss we really want to raid, me and some of my friends and some of the community here will start at 6 a.m. raiding,
Ooh.
and go like as long as we can all day, trying to get either the shinies if it's a shiny legendary or high IVs, 98s, 100%,
Yeah,
things like that. So when it's worth raiding, we go pretty hardcore.
that's awesome.
So yeah, but quick other things I'll just mention about the team maybe before I go or before we wrap this up or whatever.
Yep.
Is something that as well we kind of spoke about is like how it works in terms of safe switching.
Mm-hmm.
So, what made me decide to lead with the Giratina Origin is that Dialga worked as a very good safe switch against a lot of Pokemon that Giratina is weak to. So, for example, if they lead a Togekiss, safe switching into the Dialga, often they'll want to stay in.
Yeah.
So then that means you can burn both their shields with your Iron Heads or feint it. And then if they do use both their shields and then kill you, you can then bring in your Melmetal to finish it off and get some residual energy and other things that can put the momentum in your favor and put you far ahead and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why, like, a lot of people I spoke to about it asked me why I led Giratina instead of Dialga, and that's something me and my friend Summer kind of noticed when we were testing. Also, we were so Summer did this, not me, but when we were like testing some teams, he went on Sylph.gg and they had a part of kind of like a ranking system on their side, and it showed like the win rate of these three, and they were like the second highest win rate with that lineup.
Oh wow.
For Master League.
Oh wow.
So it showed like they were really consistent.
Yeah.
And even just changing the order to Dialga, it actually reduces the win rate, or even Melmetal reduces the win rate because of certain things they're weak to, I guess.
Yeah.
And oddly, the top team, I decided to test it, and I thought to myself, like, this seems really bad, and it actually was. So it's interesting that's rated so highly because it's the Giratina Altered Lugia and Melmetal.
Oh, okay.
So I was thought that was a bit odd, but yeah, we looked at all these things going into it, and then we practiced a lot, and that kind of helped with it as well. So
awesome.
It's not just the fact that using, or having those Pokemon, but how you use them.
The skill. There's massive skill behind the Pokemon that you use. Yeah.
So I think knowing the matchups is really important. So a very common matchup in Master League that I would go up against all the time would be either my Dialga against their Melmetal locked in, or my Melmetal against their Dialga locked in.
Okay. Yeah.
So what is very interesting about that, I run Draco Meteor on my Dialga because I think it's the better move.
Yeah.
And because if they don't shield, it gets the KO a lot of the time. So especially in the mirror match, which can be important. So what I would find is if I was using my Dialga against the Melmetal, I would want them to fire off their first superpower. So a lot of people charge up their two superpowers. So I would want them to fire off their first one. So then I could fire off my Draco Meteor and get a bit more damage because their defense has now fallen.
Yep.
So that would be something that would be like really crucial. And against like the Melmetal Dialga matchup, when I'm using Melmetal, I would wait, even if that meant I had got to like 100 energy, to see if they would fire off their charge move. So then, especially their Draco Meteor.
Yeah.
So then I wouldn't have to use a shield, and then I could fire off my two superpowers.
Yeah.
And have a bit more health left afterwards.
Yeah.
And that would be, and then if they do shield one of them, you get to a third quicker without taking too much more damage or whatever. So it just makes the matchup a little bit easier. So things like that, knowing those common matchups and how you should play them is what I advise people to practice a lot if they want to, not just in Master League, but general PvP.
That is great wisdom for that matchup right there. And I've seen it a lot of times where, I'm using my own Melmetal, and I go for the superpower, and then after that, the next charge move does a ton of damage, So you got to be smart about when you use the superpower. Maybe go for the Rock Slide, especially if they're in a one superpower does a KO range, and then, they're hoping to get off a charge move because they think you do the superpower, so then they shield, so you get the Rock Slide shield, and then you still don't get the debuff. There's a lot of different little things that make a big difference in the battles.
Exactly, and I think especially in this is the case in all leagues, but especially with the way Master League is, switch timer is really important because you'll find yourself locked in a lot into maybe a kind of not a great matchup, like for example that Dialga Melmetal matchup.
Yeah,
and if let's say you sin their lead and that's like you need that Dialga to survive.
Yeah.
You can like burn both your shields and then you can switch out again.
Yeah.
And that spares time on the switch time. So really things like that is really important. But yeah. So that's some things I'd recommend and what I really like about the team. But it's not to say the team is obviously like, although I think it's the most consistent and best team for Master League.
Yeah.
It's not to say it's unbeatable. There are flaws to it. There are weaknesses to it. There's been times where, I've misplayed, or there's been times where my opponent has made like really great plays, like switching at the right time to soak a charge move. So, how you play and as well is important, not just the Pokemon that you use. So yeah.
Well, awesome. Thank you for sharing this time with us. Thank you for being rank 1. If I had to put money down on who would be rank 1 in this first preseason, you would have definitely been in the top 3 of my choices of who I thought would make it to rank 1. You would.
That's nice. That's nice of you to say.
And the other person would be Valorash, because I know Valorash would go hard and he's got the skill to get up there. So
definitely, I think if it was Great League alone, like I would have put him as like my favorite.
Yeah.
Personally, but because it was all 3 leagues, like obviously I knew Great League pretty well. Ultra League, like I got familiar with it, and Master League was the one I felt actually the most confident on, just because I've been waiting for Master League to finally get its day for a long time. So.
Yeah, that's so cool. All right, well, did you want to give a shout out before we head out of here?
Yeah, definitely. So if I can shout out London's Finest and the London Battle Arena crew. So London's Finest is our Sylph tournaments that are run in London every month. So we've got our Sylph Toxic Cup coming up on the 21st of March. So if you're interested, head over to sylph.gg and look it up. And we've also got our regionals coming up in April. I think it's the 11th of April.
11th, yep.
Which you're coming to as well, I believe, right?
I'm coming, yep, because I want to get my regional in early. So that way I can help out my patron community as well, because they're all doing their regionals later in the month. And then I want to try to shoutcast some regionals, and there's a couple good ones near the Safari Zone at the end of the month. So I want to try to head up that way and shoutcast those with Ghost Stadium, but we'll have to find out more. But I gotta come down. I was looking at the map and I'm like, you guys are the closest one. I'm like, I need to get down there for a tournament. So why not do regionals?
I'm glad. I think it's going to be a really great event. I just hope the format's good. And,
I hope the meta's good.
Yeah. I really hope it's not like a horrible cup, but fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And then as well as London's Finest, in Liverpool, if you're going to Safari Zone, there's going to be a really big Battle Tower tournament.
Yes.
As long as the world doesn't end with the coronavirus health stuff and it gets cancelled. If everything goes to plan, hopefully, and there'll be that taking place on the Saturday, which I think it's the 18th of April.
18th,
I think.
Yep.
Yeah. So the Saturday, the big Battle Tower, I think about 400 people have pre-registered already. So that's going to be insane. That's
going to be fun, and I'm not going to be fighting in that one. I'll be shoutcasting that one though. So it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of hype.
Yeah.
Oh man. And Relicanth.
So,
oh my gosh, I need Relicanth so bad.
So I'm just gonna search for the good rank. That's it. But or do I need to find one? I need to find ones with good attack as well.
Yeah.
So like good ranks with good attack.
What we'll do is we'll save them all up, and then we'll trade. I gotta save some for people in the States, but we can do some trades to see if we can get some rolls.
Yep. Reroll them.
Yeah.
Reroll them.
Okay.
Exactly.
Cool.
But yeah.
All right. Well, like always, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.